Spontaneous speaking video 31. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that awkward for you? I think it's time that we address this thing that we call an awkward silence. It's often been said that silence is only awkward, or most things are only awkward if we make it awkward. I believe that silences are one of those things. I run into so many people who get uncomfortable whenever we're in a car alone and I go into my zone and all of a sudden they want to start getting on their phone. I kind of got into a little freestyling thing over there, but you guys get what I'm saying. I know that we've all run into these people. You watching are probably one of those people. You feel the need to break the silence, to melt the gold that's going on in that situation because you feel like it's awkward. You feel like, oh dang, well, what are they thinking about me? Or, they're probably waiting for me to say something. You just feel this type of pressure on yourself to start something up. That's when you then begin even saying just about anything to fill the air. So, nice weather we're having. Oh, so how was your day? What major are you? I don't know. Like all of those basic questions. And I'm not saying that we tend to be ingenuine when we say these things, but a lot of the time we are only saying it to fill the air. Literally, we are only saying it so that we do not have to sit in silence with each other. And I think that that's a big problem. I feel as if, first of all, that I resonate with you guys who actually do feel that way, because I'm also someone who oftentimes I'd be in conversation or I'd be in the midst of other people or another person, especially it's usually worse when it's just like one person, in my opinion. It probably differs with a whole bunch of other people, but in my opinion, when it's only like one other person, you two are just like in the car and you feel like they are expecting you to say something, especially if they're like more introverted or whatever, then you kind of feel like it's your duty to kind of like break the silence and start talking to them. But I've learned that a lot of people are really just okay with the awkward silence. And I've actually grown to love those people because they have taught me to not only be okay with it as well, but that I actually love it. I'm going to compare and contrast my two roommates, Tay, Brandon. And I apologize for what's going on over here. Maybe this will work. Anyway, so Tay, as you guys know, he's in my nutrition video, ESFP, and he's just really like out there, always loud, whatever. Even if he's not always loud, he just likes to talk. And if it's silent, he has to play music. Yesterday he was washing dishes and he couldn't just deal with the silence, so he had to like blast the music. There's not a problem with that. But when we're in the car, oftentimes when I literally just don't have anything to say, or I'm in my own head and I'm just thinking, then he will often begin to play music, or he'll begin to ask me, hey, what's wrong? Or he'll just try to like make conversation with me because he just doesn't feel comfortable us being in the car and him not having no conversation going on, no communication going on. Same thing with my friend Kylisa. She told me that, Denzel, I just feel so awkward when it's silent. So she tries to be like filling the air, like, so how was your day? You know, those type of questions that are not really like necessary and everything, because she refuses to sit in the silence because she feels like it's her responsibility to sort of break it. Either that, or she probably fears to self-introspect. And I guess a lot of this sort of like bleeds into what I was talking about with my shower portals video. If you haven't seen that, you should go check it out. It's basically all about going into your own mind and being in your own internal world. But I believe that silences, what we usually call awkward silences, are usually the times when you can actually do that. So then compare and contrast those two with my roommate Brandon, who's an INTP, and my girlfriend Jamila, who's an ISFP. When I'm with them, usually with Jamila, sometimes it ranges where it's like, okay, now I really feel like this is awkward silence because, you know, like, we're here having lunch, I'm eating, and, you know, we just have nothing to say. Like, it's kind of weak to me, and, you know, you don't want to be rude and go on your phone because then she's going to get mad. You know, those of you with girlfriends, you understand what I'm saying. But with Brandon, he drives me to work every Friday. He works there too, and it's as early as 6:30 a.m. Nobody's trying to talk at 6:30 a.m. unless if you're probably Tay or, you know, Kylisa or someone. But usually during those car rides, for like about 4 consecutive weeks, we'd sit in the car and we'd be completely silent the whole 12-minute ride. And one time I brought it up and I was like, you know, I find it interesting how different you are from Tay. You feel no need. It's like he's not playing any music. He's not like on his phone or anything. He's just completely focused on the road. And I even asked him, like, what type of things do you think about, like, while you're like driving me to work? And he's like, oh, you know, I'm usually just thinking about like a whole bunch of things, actually, like my whole day, you know, typical INTP type of stuff. And I just found it very fascinating because he allowed me to feel comfortable to sit in his passenger seat completely silent. I didn't feel like, oh, what is Brandon thinking? I wonder if he's thinking if I'm like being rude or anything like that. Instead, you know, we just are both silent. There's no animosity. There's no type of bitterness between us. There's no type of like bad thoughts that are going on, like, why isn't he talking to me or anything like that. We just understand that there are moments where we both enjoy our own solitude. Plus, it's 6:30 in the morning. And I'm wondering how many of us can actually say that we do the same. This whole video, the message of this video is to learn to embrace awkward silences and to actually create them more often. In fact, I would go as far as to say that learn to accept that not every silence is awkward, or not every silence has to be awkward. Sometimes it's okay to just sit with your friend and think, just be in your own mind, you know? Sometimes it's totally okay to just relax, be zenned out. Every once in a while, you know, just say a few words if you have to, and just go back into your mind and just enjoy the moment. There's no rule that states that both of you have to be engaging in conversation at some time. You know, now if you are consistently doing this and you guys are not talking to each other at all, and you're like always on your phone or something, that's a problem. But I guess what I'm just trying to say is, let's learn to be comfortable with awkward silences, what we call awkward silences. Let's learn to accept that not all silences are awkward. And I'd actually like to ask you guys to come up with ideas. I would actually like to know, to somehow indicate to the other person or other people that you are totally fine with awkward silence. It reminds me of the old show Twisted, about the psychopath that supposedly killed his father. You guys probably don't know about that show. It was shut down. But there's one line that Danny said because he was with his friend at lunch, and his friend was like, just kept on talking, like, so, blah blah blah, like, and then Danny's like a real chill dude. I suppose now that I'm thinking about it, he's probably the same type as Jamila ISFP, and he was like, dude, it's all right. It's all right if you're quiet. I'm a big fan of the awkward silence. And I was like, oh. And I think that was the first moment that I was like, you know what? I wonder if I ever come off as that guy that was sitting with him. You know what? Maybe some people are fans of awkward silence. And you know what? I'm a fan of it too now. So yeah, just be thinking about that.